the same. Tom Brady is a Super Bowl champion again for the record-setting 7th time.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zoo.
Golly, is this his 6th ring? 7th ring? Seventh ring.
We knew we were playing a great football team tonight, and we got the job done. So
the guys that we have the leadership ability to be even better next year. Obviously, we didn't end the season the way we wanted to, and at the end of the day, we have to come into this next year with a blank slate and trying to find a way to get to the Super Bowl again.
Good morning, Keyshawn, J. Will, Zuby, presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests join us on the Goodyear Hotline. Key is here. I am with Key as well, Alan Hahn.
Why wouldn't I be here?
Yeah, you've been on vacation.
I mean, that was before yesterday.
I know. It seemed like it was a big deal that you were away for so long, which I would take as that people missed you.
But I wasn't away long. It just felt you got to get a new mic. It felt like I was away for a long time, but I wasn't away a long time. I just was a few weeks, and that was pretty much it.
All right, good.
I'm entitled to take a vacation. That's part of what you build up. You build up vacation time,
right,
and then you use it.
Of course you do.
Why would I build up weeks of vacation time and then waste it? It's like air miles, mileage plus or something, and you don't use it and they expire. They're not letting me roll it over.
The good thing is this doesn't bother you at all. But this is that time of year, obviously, when we get ready for the football season, and it's the training camp part. When does it become the monotony? Like, Key, when do you – because you said this, how you start to smell it in the air. Like, when you're in July, you know it's coming and you're excited for it. You get to camp, you see everybody, you're excited for that. At one point, do you reach that, like, the dog days of training camp where you're like, man, let's just get to the season. I'm already sick of this.
Oh, by the time you get ready to get close,
are we at it? Like, is it second week of August? Like, are we in it?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's changed a little bit since I retired.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
About how they go about practice. To me, their practices aren't as, I don't want to say tough, but demanding. It's more mental than physical.
How's that? How's it more mental?
Because they're not out there. Man, you realize what we were doing when we was in training camp? The stuff that we used to have to do?
You were still part of the two-a-days. Like,
real
late 90s. Yeah, you had Bill Parcells. What am I talking about?
Like real.
You almost did 3-a-days.
Well, as I would tell Bill, playing for you is like dog years. I mean, it's not, it's one of those deals where.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. It was you wake up, your feet hurt, you walk into the building, you're getting treatment before practice, treatment after practice, meetings all day long. By the time you get through that second week of practice, you just like going into that first preseason game. You just want to get to the first preseason game because by the time, I think it's the second preseason game, the light is at the end of the tunnel, you're getting ready to break camp. Mm-hmm. So you kind of know, okay. And when you get to the second preseason game, practice becomes lighter. Those first 2 weeks, they're trying to not only look at you, but they need to look at all the new faces and see what those new faces are because they know what you could do. As a veteran starter on the team, they just want to make sure you're in shape and you're doing everything that you're capable of doing.
It used to be the training camp was a way to, you play yourself into shape. That's the old days, right? The old days where that's why they did training camp. Now you've got to show up in shape, and it's a matter of now just getting you sharp for the season, getting everything that they want done.
I think that's about right.
Every training camp of every sport, nobody likes it.
But what I would tell you, if you take a percentage of a team, 90+% of a team always come in shape. Professional athletes are in shape. They're never out of shape. Mm-hmm. They just may look different. If they're a big boy, they may come in a little heavier than norm. But the big boys usually, some body types, no matter what they do, they just bad bodies. It's just, you got a bad body. It's just,
I can relate to that.
And so they look out of shape, but they're in shape. And when they're in training camp, they kind of just coast along and they're getting themselves in shape, whether it was when I played or whether it's today. I mean, it's just what it is. Off seasons are extremely important and different for professional athletes now, football players, so to speak, now than they were back then because of the off-season conditioning programs that was taking place at the facilities.
Sorry, so with that in mind, how much emphasis do you put on what a team looks like in camp? Like you're big on visual. You're very visual. You look like you watch a player, you say he just looks right. Like that's a big keyism. So when you have a team, how big is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks into camp, that they look right? Or do you feel like it's a long season, good teams figure it out? Where are you on that?
Well, it all depends, Alan, on what that team is doing. Like, what is it that they're screwing up? Are they crisping certain periods? Is 7-on-7 red zone? Or are they just slicing and dicing? Is the quarterback hitting the receivers in sync? Is the ball at their ankles, or is it in the pocket where he could catch and run? Like, you start looking at all of those sort of things, and it'll tell you whether or not that particular player is ready. The receivers, is breaking down the DBs. Is that defensive end coming around the edge like a Ferrari rounding, coming around a big 18-wheeler just around the corner? That's how you know. It's like, oh, okay, this dude gonna turn some stuff out. You could tell. You can
get it, yeah. So you have a feel for your team. All right, well, with that in mind, let's get to Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, because Bruce Arians of the defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he said something yesterday that it sounded like he was sounding the alarm for his offense. Or is he just trying to light a fire under his team, knowing what they are, where they are in training camp? But let's just take a listen to how he feels the offense has looked lately.
Probably the worst offensive practice we've had in 3 years. Kind of a pattern of behavior now. After a day off, our offense just stinks, and they got to break that habit. But defensively, they answered the bell. They came out and dominated the entire practice, and it was good to see.
What do you think the reason is why the offense struggles coming off a day off?
Ask them. I mean, you can't be warned more than every week, so drop passes, missed assignments on basic plays. It's just a lack of concentration.
That's Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. So Bruce Arians basically said his offense stinks.
Yeah, that's not a big deal.
So so you're putting this at a level of where? 1 to 10 of urgency?
5.
Oh, that's all right. It's middle.
A 4.
Middle.
I mean, it's not. First of all, Tom Brady shouldn't have been at the Hall of Fame.
You think that's part of the reason?
His hips were tight because he was flying private back and forward and got a little tired. No, I think, though, when you are in this training camp stuff, you wake up sometimes, and there's always 1 or 2 days in training camp where the offense of teams just look bad. It's like they can't get out of their cuts because they're stiff, they're tired, their legs are tired. You know, they're just not, they're just tired, even with a day off. Even though you got a day off, you're not ready to come back. You know, you're like, oh, man, I got this day off, dog. And you just.
But that attitude key also could be something that makes it so difficult to repeat as a champion. No. And it's something that I love this saying. It's hard to eat when you're full.
When is the Super Bowl next year?
It's in February.
And where are we at?
Yeah, I know. We're in August.
So you think
that's why I'm asking you?
You think from August to February they're going to stay the same? This particular team that brings everybody back, including the coaching staff, because they look bad. They probably look bad. Like you said, they're dropping balls. Antonio Brown can't get in and out of his break. Chris Godwin hamstring hurts. Tom Brady is just chilling. Leonard Fournette dropped a few balls. Ronald Jones didn't practice. That happens. I'm not literally saying these are the things that are happening. I'm just giving examples of what could be the case. Maybe the offensive linemen are jumping off sides. The defense, one thing the defense, all they do is see ball, go get ball, run and hit. That's it. There's nothing else. They're just a reaction. Where on the offensive side of the ball, there's so much that you have to process and do. That's it. So much defensive players, all they got to do is get to a spot. They're told, you be there, space it out. This is where it's at. It's a totally different game on the offensive defensive side of the ball. Most of the times, the defense of personnel will kick the you-know-what out of the offense. They will just, during training camp, they always get the best of the offense.
What was training camp like after winning the Super Bowl for you and your group? Like what? Like your group, was it good enough to repeat? Did you guys have that in mind?
We should have won 2 Super Bowls back to back. There's no question.
Why not? Then why didn't you?
Well, because we had a different type of team, though, man. Our team was made up of so many superstars and egos.
What do they look like now?
Yeah, but they don't have what we had. I'm sorry to say it. They got one dude. They got one guy.
They have Gronk.
They got one guy. They got one guy in Tom Brady.
Okay.
In terms of a superstar.
Right.
We had
Their
many.
defense has stars. But
yeah, but their defense is good, but egos. There is no Warren Sapp on that team, man. There just isn't. There is no Simeon Rice and Derek Brooks. There isn't. There's no John Lynch and Rondé Barber, and that's just on the defensive side. We had a coach that had a doll in his office that was Chucky. Now, think about it.
Yeah.
Then if we go to the offensive side, one and only, they had to deal with me. So I'm just saying, when you got that type of, it was a lot going on. We had a rock star and general manager in Rich McKay. Like, it was just a different.
So you don't see that with this group?
No.
The current Bucks, you don't see that becoming a bit of an issue for them?
Because, number one, the head coach isn't trying to make it about him. He's not trying to make it about him. John Gruden, for all it's worth, was trying to make it about him. As a young head coach, this was what I did. Look at me. I took them to the Super Bowl. This is factual. This is not, I'm not making this up to do sports talk radio. This is not a dig at Coach Gruden. This is factual. Anyone that followed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or know anything about our run to the Super Bowl understood that the next year, in the midst of trying to get back to the Super Bowl, our damn general manager couldn't stand the dude. He left in the middle of the season to go take another job. Where have you ever seen that at? That was our issues. The Buccaneers' current team, they don't have those issues.
Okay.
They'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
I was waiting for those words from you because I want that on record. That's all I was asking.
If they don't,
so Bruce Arians is just trying to light a fire right now.
If they don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, it won't be because of today or yesterday.
It won't be because they aren't motivated or they just
absolutely not.
Again, hard to eat when you're full. I mean, that's the phrase that comes back. The team's like, okay, all right, they're hungry. Well, we'll certainly find out. But with that in mind, though, as you mentioned, the Bucs are one of the favorites, but it doesn't mean that they can't be beat. So, who are the biggest threats to the Bucs repeating as the Super Bowl champs, and why is one of them already dealing with what is a setback for their most important player? That we'll discuss after Key has the